Hello everyone. My name is Mark and you're watching Mark Shelley Aquatics. Now let me tell you about me and shrimp. I've been keeping shrimp for 6 or 7 years now, and I've been selling them for at least 5, and I've even been breeding and selling shrimp as my full-time job for over a year now. Over the course of that time, I've had the chance to help lots and lots of people almost every day with shrimp and their shrimp problems, and helping. One of the main things about my channel is helping new people with shrimp. So if I don't cover your questions in this video, go ahead and subscribe. I have hundreds and hundreds of videos about shrimp, so I'd like to invite you to subscribe and go check those out. Now let's talk about the top 5 reasons. I've had lots and lots of newbies have problems with getting started. So let me tell you the top 5 reasons that shrimp die. So from my experience of helping all the new people with shrimp, the biggest problem I see is new people who are just trying out shrimp, and a lot of these people are not familiar with fish tanks, or they're new to the hobby altogether, and that is throwing shrimp in a brand new tank that has not been properly cycled. Without a properly cycled tank for your shrimp, you'll have problems with ammonia and nitrites. Now shrimp are sensitive little critters to ammonia and nitrites, so it is of utmost importance that your shrimp have a fully cycled aquarium. Another issue that goes along with this is new people, they don't know how much to feed their shrimp, and they feed too much, and that will also contribute to ammonia issues. So make sure your tank is established. Now, usually that will mean like 2 or 3 months of having something going on in there. Like I used to do, I used to put some snails in there and feed just a little tiny bit for 2 or 3 months, and that's usually enough to get it going. That'll get a little bit of algae going, get your plants growing. A mature tank is best. And so the second thing I want to talk about when it comes to your new cherry shrimp dying is improper acclimation. Let's see if I can say it right. Now, one of the best things about cherry shrimp or NEOCARIDINA shrimp is that they can adjust a huge range of all kinds of different water parameters as far when it comes to water hardness and pH and those kind of things. Now, some people may say, oh, I just plopped and dropped my brand new shrimp and they're fine. Well, you might be able to get away with that if your water is real similar to the water that your shrimp come from. Now, if your shrimp are way different, if the water your shrimp come in and were raised in are way different than the water that you have, then that's where you're going to have issues if you just drop them in the tank. So a proper drip acclimation is key. You don't have to do drip acclimation, but slowly get them adjusted to their water. And that means more than just temperature acclimation. You have to put your shrimp in a container, put in a little bit of water, whether you're dripping it in from an airline or just a little shot glass or something, just a little bit of water at a time every so often. And then your best bet is to use a TDS pin. Now, you don't have to do that, but if that way, you know, if your water is way different than the water the shrimp come in, then you're going to have to take a longer time to acclimate them. Always say that if your TDS is within 10% when it comes to Neos, an hour or 2 of acclimating your shrimp is going to be just fine. Now, if you have a huge difference, like if you got shrimp from someone with liquid rock and you have really soft water, so like say your TDS is only like 120, and you get shrimp in a TDS that's over 300, now you're going to have to take your time really slow and spread it out over the course of a day. Like 4 or 5 hours, you know, spend time on it. Make sure you do it right and slow, because you'll be thankful for it and your shrimp will be very grateful. I know, because when I first started getting shrimp, the first 3 or 4 times I bought shrimp, all I did is open the bag and plop them in, because that was always the best way to do fish, and I was brand new to shrimp, but I've been keeping fish my entire life. So shrimp are a little more sensitive to things like that. That's something we need to keep in mind. Here's another thing that can cause shrimp deaths to new shrimp keepers that, well, it's unfortunate. Shrimp are essentially little bugs that live in the water. What that means is they are very susceptible to bug spray. Any kind of pesticide like that is bad news. Anything from spraying yourself with off before you go outside and getting some in the air in the house, having an exterminator come and spray your house for bugs that can cause severely bad issues, or even so you treat your dog with fleas, some topical flea treatment, and you get some of that on your hands and you don't get your hands washed good enough before you stick your hands in your tank. Bad, bad, bad. I've even heard of a story of a guy who just freshly treated his cat. The cat fell in the shrimp tank and all the shrimp died. So that's another thing you guys need to be aware of. And scented candles, perfume, cologne, stuff like that. Take it easy around the tanks and try to take it easy. I'm always yelling at my girls, easy on the perfume. Good Lord, I can smell it in the other room. They really like me when I do that. The fourth issue is inappropriate tank mates. Now, this has happened a number of times to people who didn't know anything about shrimp, and they buy shrimp. It's like, oh, shrimp are awesome. I want to toss it in my community tank. And I've also had people irate. Why'd you send me baby shrimp? Why'd you send me baby shrimp? Not knowing that's the standard, which I send a good mix of shrimp when I sell shrimp. But they saw somewhere on Google that the average size of an adult Caridina is 1.7 inches. And I was like, good Lord, I don't think I've seen thousands and thousands of shrimp. I don't know if I've ever seen one almost 2 inches long. Good grief. So this guy, he was irate that I sent him little babies. And he had they were not babies, but they were not adults. They were just getting to be breeding size. And he was irate over that because I put them in my tank and they're instant fish food. I just spent $50 on fish food. Well, you know, shrimp are really, really small. And even so, the standard rule is if a shrimp can fit in a fish's mouth, that fish is pretty much guaranteed to eat it if given the chance. And even that is not always safe because there are fish with small mouths that are aggressive in nature, and they'll pick and pick and pick at adult shrimp until they die and then eat the dead body. So you got to be careful of that. Be aware shrimp are really small, delicate little critters. I always prefer to keep my shrimp in shrimp-only tanks with a few other types of fish. Like for me, bristlenose plecos are the best. Not all plecos, specifically bristlenose plecos are what I like to keep with my shrimp. The fifth and last thing is you just got bad shrimp. Now, most of the shrimp you're going to buy out there are imported shrimp. What that means is they're raised in the pond somewhere in Asia, shipped halfway across the world through a wholesaler, then sent to this seller, sent to this seller, sent to this seller. So they've made 3 or 4 different trips before they've even, and then, yeah, so then they go to your house. So they've made 3 or 4 different trips, possibly been exposed to 3 or 4 different kinds of water parameters, all in a very short amount of time, along with the stress of riding on an airplane and who knows what else they encounter with their journey. Another thing with shrimp that are raised outside like this is they have all kinds of diseases, parasites. There's all kinds of stuff that it's not good. And if you're hunting for bargains, like I've heard of people get the 30 shrimp for $50 shipped on eBay type of stuff. Those are the kind of shrimp that are throwaways that have been imported and are probably called imported culls. And so they get the lowest, like there's high quality imports that are quarantined and have, they're pampered a little bit, not really, but they're pampered a little bit. And then you have the throwaways, and those are the super, super cheap ones that you get. Those have no one scanned them for diseases. They're just going from one bag to another in the mail to your house, hoping that the shrimp lives long enough to sell. That's the name of the game. They're importing these shrimp for less than a nickel a piece and hoping enough live to sell for $1 to make money off of it. So your best bet is to find a home breeder or someone who breeds the shrimp themselves, so they're not shipped all over the world and gone through wholesalers and gone through this, that, and the other. Because I know that's normal for shrimp and it's normal for fish, but shrimp are more sensitive to the water changes. So just keep that in mind. So look for a home breeder, someone who breeds the shrimp themselves. I've had people who are doing everything right. They got shrimp from me after failing 3 or 4 times and said, I don't know what I did different, but all I did is put your shrimp in and boom, successful colony. Because my shrimp were born in the tank I sold them out of. So they were born in the tank, I scooped them, I bagged them up, put them in the mail, and they're at their new owner's house. So all those changes are stressful on the shrimp. All right, everyone. So I thought I'd put this together real quick for you guys to help the newbies. Top 5 reasons why your new cherry shrimp die. If you're looking for good homebred shrimp and you're in the United States, check out my website, markshellyaquatics.com. And if you don't have access to me or you're out of the United States, try to find a home breeder in your area. That's best, or in your country where they can ship you shrimp, because you're going to have a lot better success that way. And keep all these other things in mind. You want to make sure your tank is fully cycled. You want to make sure you do a proper acclimation. Make sure you don't accidentally poison your shrimp with bug spray and perfume and stuff like that. Make sure your tank is going to be a safe place for shrimp to live. And make sure you get good quality healthy shrimp from the very beginning. That is going to make your shrimp experience so much smoother, so much easier. I cannot even explain. I can't even tell you how much. So thank you guys for watching. Bye.